Apple has a web page, which if I hop back to the computer so I can show you what I'm looking at there, which explains all these new features, so you can see what they look like, which is www.apple.com/iOS/iOS-11, but you probably don't need that, but I think it does it anyway. Yep, same page. So it summarises all the new features. As far as stability and things go, I think it's a little bit unstable. I'm having mail crash on me occasionally and things like that, but it's not enough to be a nuisance. It's just oh bother, that's just crashed, run it again, it works fine. So my Apple Pencil's telling me my pencil's nearly flat battery, so if I plug that in. Lost my microphone. Let's just fix that. Right, I'll plug the pencil in again to recharge it while we're doing this. Yep, so that covers, sort of summarises all the new features. There's already a iOS 11.1 beta release out, but that's the usual pattern. Apple releases a bug fix. There's probably going to be another couple of them in the next few weeks. There's no compelling reason to stay off iOS 11, except that if you have old apps that you can't run because your device, you've got too many old apps that you need and they're not compatible. So again, that's where it's useful to look at that list before upgrading.
I like the new keyboard.
Oh yes, I can't demonstrate that, unfortunately. There's a new keyboard. If you have any model apart from this iPad Pro, if you have any iPad, it has a new thing called the, I forget what it's called, the Quick Type keyboard or something like that. But basically, the keys, Apple's got a picture of it, I can show you what it looks like. Where's it hiding? No, it must be near the top somewhere. There it is, I just saw it go past. Instant notes, line drawing, there it is there. Notice that the keys have got a little grade symbol along the top. If you have anything other than the biggest size iPad Pro, your iPad keyboard will have those extra symbols, and how that works is if you tap the key normally, it gives you the black one. If you simply slide your finger down on the key, it gives you the top one. It's kind of like rolling the key down and it pops back up again. So it gives you quick access. Yeah. Shane can do it because doesn't have a big iPad. The reason it doesn't do it on the big iPad is because it's got enough space to actually give you a full-size keyboard, so it behaves like a normal computer keyboard. But if you have a medium or small iPad, it gives you this new flickable keys. Yeah, so that's a very nice feature. I haven't upgraded my older.
Punctuation marks.
Yes, and numbers and things like that.
Letters, especially doing passwords and so much fun.
I haven't upgraded my other iPad yet because I wanted to keep one for comparison's sake at the meantime. So I'm still running iOS 10 on my smaller iPad. If I had enough money to throw $1,000 at it, I'd probably be buying 2 more iPads just so I could demonstrate them more. But I can't justify it. So, okay.
Is that the sum of the keyboard?
That's.
Does it not have a bar for?
Well, that's just
words?
there does, but that's just showing you the actual main body of the keyboard there. So it's got the same features along the top. One thing that has changed, if you had a Plus model iPhone, it used to have arrow keys and a few extra controls along the sides of the keyboard if you're in landscape mode. They've got rid of that. It's only got a standard size keyboard now with gaps on the side. And so it's a minor nuisance. I barely ever used it, but occasionally it was useful. So that's one thing they've taken away.
Extra features like cut and paste and that type of thing.
Yeah.
The space that the keyboard takes up on the screen can be adjusted.
It's pretty much fixed, but you can push it out of the way with the take the keyboard away button. No, it's got to be. It needs to be normal size keys. Yes, probably. Okay. Any questions on that? What I need is another adapter. Luckily, I came prepared. Here's one I prepared earlier. Just to finish off with, I'm not going to do a full demo, but I just wanted to briefly show you the new Mac operating system, which has been available now for a week. So it came out the day after our Wellington meeting. So
You don't happen to have that software?
no, I don't.
No, because that's running.
Oh, yes, I do actually. It may not be compatible though, we can find out. I just adjust the screen resolution because it looks horrible. Where's the... He's not there. Okay, I'll go into system preferences. I've got to adjust the settings before we can look at things properly anyway. Displays. I want to be on 1280 by 800 if I can find that. There. That's better. Okay, so don't need that at the moment. What have I got running here at the moment? That's all right. I'm just in the middle of experimenting with various things, and we want to find. Yeah, I don't care about you. I want to find switcher cast. There we go. That's running, so you should be able to get my screen. So this is macOS High Sierra now, 10.13. If you're already familiar with Sierra, it looks pretty much the same. There's very few obvious differences from what I've seen. One thing I did notice is there's a new lock screen command sitting here in the Apple menu. There are probably new things in system preferences, but I haven't really had time to go hunting through it. What I've got here right now is actually a clone of my main computer on my spare computer with all my applications installed so I can run through and test everything. So I have not upgraded my main computer because there are bound to be a lot of compatibility problems with things I've already got. Just in the last 2 weeks, I've got quite a lot of applications, and about 30 of them have had updates, just to and fix compatibility issues. So I'm not rushing into quickly upgrading my main computer. I'm waiting. Oh, it's over scanning. Displays. Where's the underscan? I have to look at it to see what's going on.
Yeah, that's better.
Just get it right. Is that starting to trim? Just there. Okay, that's it. That's better. So menu bar looks the same pretty much. Siri's still there. So that was already there in the previous version. I've got various bits of third-party software in here, so that looks pretty much the same as before. There's not really a lot to show you. The main thing is the application compatibility, and one I have found, which is the membership database that we run. If I try and do anything significant in this, that's because it's not a retina display. If I go in and let's just say we want to redefine the database a little bit and go OK, it crashes on me sometimes. And therefore, you need to be aware of the fact that some applications, particularly older versions, what was it that I did which was crashing? Go back to browse mode again, cancel that. No, okay, it didn't crash on me this time, but last time I opened that and opened it up, it was crashing on me quite consistently. So some older applications are going to have compatibility problems. One thing that I've been talking about repeatedly is the new file system. It is not obviously different, but if I do something which would normally take a lot of time, if I go into my movies folder, for example, I've got a folder in here which has an entire DVD on it, which is 700 megs. If I go duplicate, done. That's the new cloning feature of the new file system. It's actually two references to the same thing, but it behaves like two totally separate files. I can go and modify one of them and it won't modify the other one. So that it's already duplicated and it doesn't occupy any more disk space either. I can make 10 copies of it and I've still got 90.8 gigabytes free. So I don't know why that one's greyed out, it shouldn't be. If I delete all of them, it doesn't do anything to it either because the original one's still there. I can empty the trash, the original one's still there. So that's one of the new features of the new file system is if you're working on say a moderately complicated project you've got in a folder and you want to start with a new copy of it, you can duplicate the entire folder and it will only actually occupy disk space required for what's different between the two. So it's handy for sort of some organisation workflows and things like that. But I haven't had a decent play with it yet, apart from just sort of, okay, it basically works, and I've tried a few bits and pieces and they seem to be running. One of the big question areas was Microsoft Office. I haven't run Office 2011 yet because it's going to complain about activation as soon as I do that. But if I run Office 2008 just as a test, since I still got it installed, wait for it, thinking about it. It's freezing on me. Yeah, there we go. Yep, that seems to be working. It's not complaining at me about anything. If I try and print something, just as a sort of silly test, I go save as PDF, put on the desktop, or not. Still thinking about something here. It's thinking about it, it's thinking about it, it's thinking about it. I don't know whether this is actually a problem or if it's actually locked up on me. I'll just leave that thinking about it for a minute while I go and just run something else. Pages. Let me open Capital Apple printed pages, just as a test. Well, that's finally come back. So if I go demo.pdf, that seemed to work. It's created a PDF. That's, I mean, apart from sluggishness, which is probably just Word catching up on something like its font menu or something like that, it seems to be working. Save, which is a good sign. So the initial reports I've seen suggest that Word, Office 2011, even though it's not being supported by Microsoft, is actually still working. However, whether it keeps working is the unknown question. The old version of Pages does seem to be working. I can come in here and edit this quite happily. I can pick up objects and drag them around the page quite happily. Not very usefully. I can reorder pages. I can cut. I can paste. Everything I think I've tried pretty much seems to be stable. So old version of iWork still works, which is a good thing because I'm not quite ready to get rid of it yet. But as I said, I've got hundreds of applications. I need to test them all. But is there anything in particular that anybody would like to know about that I may or may not have? And I can just do a quick check now that there's an application you're particularly worried about compatibility with. Just for reference, there is a discussion thread on Macintosh where people have been listing compatibility problems. If I go and find it, what was it? Forums.macintosh. No, on MacRumors, sorry, MacRumors it was. Where's it gone? Ah, that one. Missed the... I want that one, does not work. Make sure I'm on page 1. There we go, page 1, and they've gone to the trouble of building up a list of applications that people have found seem to work okay and applications that don't. And if I look at the applications which don't list, anybody here running Adobe Illustrator? No version of Adobe Illustrator will work properly on the new operating system, including the latest Creative Cloud version, if you have a machine which uses the new file system. You need to upgrade, wait till the new version's available, then upgrade. So if you're running Adobe Creative Suite CS6 or earlier, you may never have a working version of Adobe Illustrator. Adobe InDesign's got a glitch. Photoshop Creative Suite 4 has got a problem. Photoshop Lightroom, an old version. You can see there's a few things that have got difficulties. Obvious problems with disk utilities, things like Disk Warrior, which actually work directly on the file system, are not going to work on the new file system because they don't understand it yet. Various games having problems there. There are older versions of a few bits and pieces, but there's not really a lot of surprises there. Old version of OmniGraffle, it's 4 versions out of date. Some fonts don't display properly in Pages. Okay, that could be a problem for us. I haven't had a look at that yet. That's the version I'm still running. Don't care about retrospect. Scrivener's a bit old. Swift Publisher, super duper. Yeah, so there are a fair number of things that have got glitches or problems with the new operating system, but the general feeling is that it's not as bad as it might have been. So you may run into some compatibility problems. I do strongly recommend, if you want to try it, that you do a full backup of your computer first, so that if something does go wrong, you can restore your backup and go back to your old system. I am not ready to upgrade yet, as I said. I'm going to probably wait about 2 or 3 weeks while I test everything first thoroughly to make sure that everything I use normally is working properly. Once I'm happy with it, then I'll upgrade my main computer. Right. Any questions about that?
Hence why I'm not upgrading yet either.
Yeah. And one of the problems is the club's membership database is running in a version of FileMaker which is now crashing, so I need to upgrade that to a newer version of the database. So that's one thing I'm going to have to do before Shane and I can both upgrade, because we can't manage the database otherwise. Right. Tea break time and or question time, I think.